politicians. So I'll make sure that I keep it short, but I am truly here for very selfish reasons. Starting with on March 29th, it's my birthday. And all I want to see happen on my birthday is for Elon to be taken down. Yes. Listen, I have learned as I serve on the Doge Oversight Committee that there is only one language that the people that are in charge understand right now. And that language is money. And so I've been so proud to see us organize behind a cause of politicians.
Part of the what we want to try and do to prepare for 2026, because we've got to win. House Democrats have to win in 2026. Got to do it. And this is the step to take. So you get, we're doing letters right now. For example, one of my colleagues, Jerry Conley, I think it was, sent a letter out demanding that Elon Musk come and testify before the Oversight Committee in the House. Now, here's the thing. The minority doesn't have the authority to issue a subpoena to make him come, right? Only the majority can do that. Only the Republicans can do that. And you know they ain't going to do that. But in 2027, after we get elected in 2026, I bet Elon Musk's subpoena, that's going to be number one that goes out. That's going to be number one. So, yes.
Good morning. Rise in freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show, and we're on the For Liberty Network. Happy Royal Thirsty Thursday. So glad and thankful to have you here. I'm glad Drew Van Runkle is here today, because I was thinking about him when we put together the bonus content for today's show. Today's bonus content is a very Drew Van Runkle type of bonus content. I was like, yes, I hope Drew Van Runkle is here. And I hope we unlock the bonus content, because if we don't, Drew Van Runkle's going to be sad. Wee, wee, wee. So get those Rumble rants in early and often. Support the Wake Up America show, because you know there's no better place to be hanging out in the morning than with the king of all libertarians joining us live at 7:30 a.m. Has Bill Burr gone woke? I think we've lost him. We've lost Bill Burr. We've lost the college-educated white women. I saw this NBC poll yesterday. Everybody was sharing it around. Senator Mike Lee was sharing it around. Everybody's talking about it. We all suspected that this was the case, but now we have some numbers to confirm it. College educated, anything college and above, white women, their leftward drift, I mean, they make Bill Burr look like a handsome, attractive, privileged, white American Chad male, instead of the bony cuck that he has become. We shall speaketh to the king of all libertarians this morning at 7:30 a.m. to talk about Bill Burr, Howard Stern, Harry Sison. You don't like that, Drew Van Runkle, but it shall be in Old English. Medieval times shall be visited upon us. And we'll speak about Bill Burr, Howard Stern, Harry Sison, and Snow White's Rachel Zegler. Rachel Zegler's Snow White this morning at 7:30 a.m. It's going to be a great segment, guys. Fun, funny, and of course, perfectly in medieval times speak. Drew Van Runkle, thank you for the donation. Says obligatory hootie and the blow-up fish. Very good. Thank you very much, Drew. That started our progress towards the bonus content, which I know you're going to want to see. It seriously is. Drew, you just better go over to the shop and buy some boxes of coffee and like a new shirt or something to unlock that bonus content. Because if we hit $75 either raised in Rumble Rants by the end of the show, or if we hit it $75 with purchases at the shop during the show, and we hit $75, then you get the bonus content. And today's just, I don't know. I just know Drew Van Runkle's going to love it. Click the like button and subscribe to the channel. Today's the first time watching the Wake Up America show. You can send us a text at 573-319 1586. Again, the text lines are open at 573-319-1586. We've got a lot to discuss this morning. Widespread incidents, violent incidents across the United States. Tesla vehicles, dealerships, and charging stations have been targeted in multiple cities, including Las Vegas, Kansas City, Seattle, Portland, and San Diego County. These attacks have involved arson, gunfire, and vandalism, like cars being set on fire and dealerships being graffitied with messages like resist and expletives that are being aimed at Elon Musk. In Las Vegas, for example, on March 18th, an individual used Molotov cocktails and fired at least 3 shots inside Tesla vehicles at a collision center, damaged 5 cars and set 2 ablaze. Similar incidents in Oregon involved Molotov cocktails thrown at a Salem Tesla store and gunfire at a Tiger dealership, indicating a pattern of coordinated destructive events. I've got the video here. You can see this is from the Las Vegas dealership. Let me pull it up on the screen. Look at this. Two vehicles here, torched. They're destroying property. They're actually firing. Look at that. Boom. Actually shooting at Teslas. All right. Imagine if you were in there. I mean, you better hope that those Cybertrucks really are bulletproof, but I don't think that the rest of the vehicles in the Tesla fleet are. Listen to this.
You get paid to be out here? Yeah.
This is a anti-Doge protester admitting that they're paid to protest Doge and Elon Musk, standing outside the dealership. Look at this.
Yeah, I get paid to be out here. You get paid to be out here? Yeah. Amazing. So some pack.
You really are getting paid for this?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, definitely. 100% I'm getting paid for this.
Okay, well, I mean, it's what they're listening here.
When people are sort of rude.
Here we have this is the one Democrat who actually is stepping up against this violence from their party.
Has it crossed the line when people are sort of rooting for the failure of a company?
Well, first, let me say, until yesterday, I think I was one of the only Democratic elected officials to unambiguously condemn the violence and destruction against Tesla.
Yeah, the only Democrat to unambiguously condemn the violence that's going on. That meanwhile, you have Jasmine Crockett.
I'm truly here for very selfish reasons. Starting with on March 29th, it's my birthday. And all I want to see happen on my birthday is for Elon to be taken down. Yes.
Elon to be taken down. Here's Tim Walz. Thank God we dodged a bullet with this guy. Can you imagine him being the vice president right now? Listen to this guy.
Saying on my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So, and if you own one, we're not blaming you. You can take dental floss and pull the Tesla thing off, and take out, just telling you.
Yeah, well, they're doing a little bit more than that. Here's how Mr. Wonderful reacted to Tim Walz's statement, cheering on the loss of value of a great American company.
I'm talking about Tim Walz and his comments about the Tesla stock. He says it gives him a boost to see that stock going down.
That poor guy didn't check his portfolio and his own pension plan for state. It's beyond stupid what he did. He's talking down a 3.5% weighting in his own pension plan. I mean, what's the matter with that guy? He doesn't check the well-being of his own constituents in his state. I mean, that's their investment fund. Point, what a bozo.
The Minnesota
So pause.
Tesla State Board of Investment, they have 1.6 million shares in Tesla in their retirement fund.
Look at this.
211,000 shares in a non-retirement fund. It's
Look at this.
Relatively.
Tim Walz is talking down he's from Minnesota, right? Governor of Minnesota. Somebody spelled Minnesota incorrectly. I get it. It's not easy, but Minneosta? Can you guys see that? Minneosta? At least the director got it. Come on, director, you're supposed to catch that. State of Minnesota's Tesla investments. Whenever I did a chyron or a banner or something like this, and it was wrong when I was working at Fox, if we were live and we were taping in the control room, if my director saw something like this, and keep in mind, there's like a dozen and a half people hanging out in the control room, right? Very high stakes, high speed environment. And, you know, so it looks like you're in the sitting in the deck of the Starship Enterprise when you're in those control rooms producing this television. If a director sees that there's this misspelling in there, they're not supposed to let it go to air, first of all. And second of all, if they do let it go to air for whatever reason, they feel like an asshole. So they turn around, of course, and call you out and they say, spelling error in your banner or something like that. And it's just like everybody turns and looks at you and is like, you're stupid. I sure hope that, and then the executive producer is sitting there screaming at the director, take that banner down, take it down. You know, I mean, it's like it's like you're like bringing astronauts back from the space station.
A small amount, but that's one company, one single stock, and that's because Tesla is a huge part of the tech growth. But this is not the first time that companies have been in the crosshairs of protests. I mean, Republicans have protested companies all the time.
What have Republicans ever firebombed car dealerships? You're out of your mind. You're out of your cotton picking. Oh, Austin, don't say that. You're out of your molasses eating mind. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. I'm Austin Peterson. We've got a great show for you today. I have got all the clips that you can use. Thank you to Quest Fanning, who says, everyone's hating on the Houthis, but what about the Blowfifth? Good one, guys. Good one. I set a fire and I watched it burn. I thought about your future. Oh, oofda, AP. If we hit $75 raised by the end of the Wake Up America shows this morning, you're going to unlock the bonus content. So keep those Rumble rants coming and head to forlibertyshop.com. Buy some delicious coffee this morning while you're at the shop. Maybe a copy of our Calvin the Coolest President children's book for the little liberty lover in your life. And if we hit that $75, Drew Van Runkle is going to be really happy because the bonus content is Drew Van Runkle friendly this morning. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. Click that like. What a little fire and I watched it burn. I thought about your future. Of course, as Governor Tim Walz was gloating about Tesla's stock dropping, the records from the Minnesota State Board of Investment show the state of Minnesota had 1.6 million shares of Tesla in its retirement fund and 211,000 shares of Tesla in its non-retirement fund. So the question is Minnesota even going to still hold Tesla, or if they sold it since then? It's definitely a story that I think is interesting because you got Tim Walz out there cheering on not only the stock of an American company, but he's talking down the stock in an American company that his state holds. I mean, he has a fiduciary responsibility to the people of Minnesota. This is how stupid the left. Stupid is one thing. It's evil and stupid when you combine the words. Here we have Jim Stewartson overall. You can see these leftists. This is where they actually believe this shit. Ever wonder where Elon Musk got his weird ass Cybertruck? The design, the Caspier, is an armored vehicle platform that was used to terrorize black people in apartheid South Africa while Elon Musk was growing up. Oh my God, bro. What the hell? Get your ass, get your goddamn little ass. Oh my God, this is what they really believe. That they think that Elon Musk was watching the black. Can you imagine him being like a little child and he's watching the black people being herded away, and you've got the people sitting up in there in this truck. He's like, one day I will take this diesel engine vehicle and I will make it an electric vehicle that liberals will buy. And then they will force the Mexicans to go out and pick the oranges in their orange groves because they're all wealthy people from San Diego. They believe this. They believe this stuff. I thought it was modeled after the truck in Halo, but no, apparently it was after the South African thing. Welcome to the Wake Up America show, guys. Look at this. This is a site that the left has set up talking about terrorism. This is a site that the left has set up that has information on Tesla dealerships and members of Doge. It's a website meant to dox those who work for Doge. At DogeQuest, we believe in empowering creative expressions of protest that you can execute from the comfort of your own home. Here you can see Tesla owners, right? Tesla dealerships, members of Doge. Where are they from? Here they are. Look at this. These are members of Doge. A website called DogeQuest has posted a searchable map with what it claims to be the names, addresses, phone numbers, and email addresses of Tesla owners across the United States. And it says it will remove the data if an individual proves they have sold their Tesla. This is like Hamas level stuff here, right? They've learned well from their Palestinian brethren. DogeQuest. Right. So this is why, if you, especially because you want to unlock the bonus content, you want to go to forlibertyshop.com this morning and you want to get yourself some Doge merchandise. Wear it proudly. I can't afford a Tesla. Maybe some of you can't either. If you go to forlibertyshop.com and you scroll down, you'll find our Department of Government Efficiency merch. And since spring has sprung, happy spring, by the way, love is a song that never ends. Their Twitter painted Doge field agent t-shirt, mission ready shirts. You can be a field agent as well. No need to dox them. Just wear the shirt yourself. Make sure that you're open carrying. If you live in the frigid north, we still have our hoodies in stock. Get yourself a vinyl sticker. You know what you should do is that when you see a leftist vehicle like a Prius, just put a Doge vinyl sticker on it. There you go. There. Coasters, can coolers, Doge father shirts. I mean, you really want to go all out. Get Elon Musk with the Viva la Libertad Carajo chainsaw on the t-shirt. We have phone cases, Elon Musk fiscal fitness t-shirts. I don't know why, but for some reason, that shirt actually really sells. I didn't think it would. It's just Elon Musk lifting weights, and it says fiscal fitness on it. I don't know. We've got the Doge trucker hats. People love those. Those are $24.99 delivered. Come on, you can't beat that. The Doge Father mugs, Doge Father hoodies, suitcases. If you really want to, if you got a lot of money in your pocket, you're ready to burn, then get a Doge Space Voyager suitcase. I just think these things are freaking awesome. Haven't sold a single one of them. Obviously, nobody's going to spend that kind of money on a suitcase. I just put it in there because it's one of those come in the door, and maybe you'll buy a Doge field agent onesie for when you absolutely want your toddler to be blown up by Antifa, or sun's out, guns out. If you get doxxed and then they do a SWAT raid on your house, you want to be wearing your Doge field agent tank top so you look swole when they SWAT your house. Damn it, AP, don't be advocating destruction of property. I would never. Welcome to the Wake Up America show, guys. I'm your host, AP for Liberty. We're going to have a great show today in 10 minutes. We're going to talk to the king of all libertarians about Bill Burr going woke. But before we do, let's wrap up this Tesla topic, Tesla terrorism, and hear from the last lone sane Democrat, Rep. Ro Khanna, talking about the violence that has broken out across the country. Take a listen.
Has it crossed the line when people are sort of rooting for the failure of a company?
Well, first, let me say, until yesterday, I think I was one of the only Democratic elected officials to unambiguously condemn the violence and destruction against Tesla. I don't think you have to be tough on crime to do that. As you know, my grandfather is part of Gandhi's Satyagraha movement, independence movement. He said sabotage is a form of violence. I mean, this is not the best form of protest, and it's not the tradition. The second point is, I'm not going to root against Tesla. There are 20,000 people who work in my district who make a living off this. They're building electric vehicles that ultimately are good for the climate. I have huge, huge problems with what Elon Musk is doing. have the protest and the conversation and criticism of Musk. Don't take it out on a company where you have workers, where you have engineers, where you have scientists, which are creating wealth for the country, which is helping the climate. And I think Democrats have to be able to offer common sense perspectives, focus on what the problem is with Musk. Don't focus on the wealth of a company.
There, at last, the lone sane Democrat. Look at this. This is a guy right here keying. This guy keying a
You're
Tesla.
on video.
This is a guy. He got caught. He was keying a Tesla.
Did you just key a Tesla the other day?
Do what?
You're on video. Yeah. This is the guy. You just keyed a Tesla. You got a video online. I just saw it. It's all over the fucking face. The media.
No Tesla.
Yes, you did. You keyed a Tesla in a parking lot somewhere around here. What do you got to say about that?
I didn't do that.
Here's the tape. What do we have for her, Johnny? Boomers hate this country so much. Why, boomers? Why do you hate this country so much? Why do you hate us? There he is. Look at that.
Well, you're on video. I plainly saw you doing it. You pulled up right next to it and then you keyed it.
Oh, shit.
You want to bet?
Whatever.
Okay. Well, they got your license.
It's so funny because like not everybody in this generation, obviously, not all boomers, but like boomers are like the most fake patriotic culture ever because they wear the trappings of patriotism, but at the end of the day, whenever somebody does patriotic shit, take a look at this. When they starts cutting their, you know what it is? They're terrified they're losing their precious benefits. They got sold a lie by FDR, and their parents who loved FDR told them, "Oh, this is a great thing, Social Security. Let's put in Medicare and Medicaid and all this stuff." They're Elizabeth Warren loving asses right there. Look at that. Right there, key in that thing. Right, it's the trappings of patriotism. It's the outfit. Let's kind of merch you would get at forlibertyshop.com. But this man hates America. He hates our country. He hates us. Look at this. Look at this. Vandalism. Kick their asses and lock them up. In either order. Now, I did say not all boomers in Jam, and obviously if you're watching the Wake Up America show, you are not of that. And boomer is also a mindset more than just a generation, by the way. And I've explained this before on my show, but boomerism, you can be a zoomer and still be a boomer.
On est dernière génération au Canada, un collectif de gens ordinaires qui demande à ce que le gouvernement canadien instaure un comité de protection face aux désastres climatiques pour protéger la population canadienne des dangers de la crise climatique. Nous avons pris action aujourd'hui.
French fried faggots. Look at this, another one in Ontario. Look at these guys. Class envy. Right there. Right there. Look at that gut. Right there. Here is a guy caught on camera keying a Tesla. Costco parking lot. There he is. Oh, it's the same guy. Okay. I've got like multiple. There's lots of these clips. Look at here. Look at her. Of course, wearing a mask. Of course. Look at her. Beat her ass. Actually, you can't even tell if it's male or female these days. Is it a woman or a man? Smoke the day's last cigarette. Remembering what she said. Here I am on the road again. Here I am up on the stage. Here I go to commercial break again. Here I go to get the king. All right, we'll be right back. The king of all libertarians, Bill Burr, Howard Stern, Harry Sisson, and more when we get back on the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. Unlock that bonus content, guys. Drew Van Runkle needs it. Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP for Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's Revolutionary Roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's Patriotic Perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks. Just pure, patriotic, pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your Founding Flavors at apforlibertyshop.com.
Are you tired of the strange radioactive effects of leftist culture? Do you ever wonder what happened to good old-fashioned American values? Well, fear no more, because there's a new force fighting back against the cultural rot of today. Introducing Culturama, a right-of-center talk show that's taking back the future today. Hosted by none other than blonde bombshell herself, Daniela Pensack. She's not just talking, she's taking culture back. With sharp takes, brilliant guests, and a few surprises along the way. Tune in to the live video podcast twice a week, because the future doesn't have to be weird. It can be Culturama.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty.
Good morning. Rise in freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. Click that like button. Come back and join us every Monday through Friday. It's a 5-day-a-week show, and you got to watch all 5 days because every day's something new, something fun, something exciting. Also, don't forget, get your Rumble rants in, guys, or go to forlibertyshop.com. Get those purchases in before the end of the show because Drew Van Runkle really needs your help. He needs to see today's bonus content. We've raised about $6 or $7 here on the Wake Up America show so far. We got to hit 75. Fastest, easiest, most fun way, I think, is to go to forlibertyshop.com, buy a box of our delicious coffee. As you can see, Thomas's Painkiller sitting right there. That's my favorite. You can see Colombian roast. Absolutely delicious. Tastes like a beautiful Colombian woman in your cup. Good morning, Sarah for Liberty, Mighty Mod, BB for Liberty, Bruce Burtwhistle, and all of our friends like Drew Van Runkle, Sign of Jonah, Steffi P, YO Wildman, Sign of Jonah, and others. Click that like. It certainly is a hell of a trip. Now it is time for us to go back to medieval times. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye, fair audience and noble listeners. Hear ye, hear ye. All shall listen, all shall love him and despair. 'Tis now time to behold a man whose legend echoes throughout the libertarian realm. Yes, whose tongue may be sharper than Sir Ben Shapiro's rapier, and whose wit hath laid low many a snowflake. Gentlefolk, I give thee none other than the merry monarch of mischief, the champion of cheeky chortles, the sovereign of satire, his majesty, King Libertarian.
By my troth, 'tis good to be amongst thee, noble Austin. Though if doth continue with such praise, my head will grow so large, it shan't fit on yon live stream overlay.
Grateful to have you here, my liege. First, thou must address a matter most curious. Pray, dost thou recall Howard of Stern, who hath turned from being Trump's companion to now the weepy jester of Biden's court? What say thee about this strange transformation?
Howard of Stern, once a body bard who hath teased the noblest of jest, now reduced to groveling for favor amongst the softest of knights. Verily, a serpent who trades a crown of thorns for a crown of soy. Methinks he hath misplaced his stones, or perchance pawned them for a seat at Jimmy of Kimmel's tepid banquet.
Truly, sire, truly. Indeed, your grace, indeed. Indeed. An intern from Howard's didst recently quill a tome detailing his trials, such as preparing baked potatoes ill-favored and fetching water not sufficiently hot. Is this not proof of Stern's descent into madness?
Madness, nay. 'Tis a sickness darker still, celebrity-itis, where once a baked potato of liberty was seasoned with irreverence, it now lays sodden and soggy, seasoned only with salty tears of Stern's dwindling audience. Methinks the intern hath learned it is better to dwell with dragons than serve fools and frauds. And by the way, this is my favorite tune.
Verily, noble king, verily. What in thine infinite wisdom dost thou recommend to poor Stern, who now catereth solely to the sensitivities of milksops and dandies?
B. Let Howard forsake his lily-livered lamets, and return forthwith to jest and jesting. Yet I fear he hath traded his mantle of mockery for a silken cloak woven by nimble fingers of Sir Jimmy of Kimmel, embroidered richly with cowardice. Nay, 'tis too late, methinks. The lion who once roared hath turned kitten, seeks comfort upon the laps of gentle folk who sip kombucha and tweet loudly.
Yea, verily. Brilliant as always, sire. Let us leave Stern to stew in his lukewarm water. Now tell us, Majesty, dost thou foresee Stern's redemption, or is he doomed forever to fate of court fool?
'Tis easier, my dear friend, for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for Howard to reclaim his dignity. Stern's redemption seemeth as likely as Lady Hillary's presidency. Oft rumored, never realized.
Alas, alas, a truth more cutting than the finest blade. Now, let us move to our next curious matter. Now, good King Libertarian, another jest doth plague my mind, a grievous tale concerning the jester once fierce and unbridled, Bill of House Burr. Hath thou seen, my liege, how this once valiant knight of comedy hath lately donned the armor of wokeness most foul, railing at Elon Musk and spewing absurdities like a court jester possessed?
I hath observed, Austin, much sorrow and disbelief. Poor William Burr, once mighty and swift-tongued and sharp-witted, now reduced to a mumbling puppet, strings plucked by his own spouse. 'Tis well known his lady wife, a fierce leftward enchantress, did bravely salute King Trump with but one finger raised aloft at yon royal combat spectacle, the UFC. Verily, methinks Bill Burr's very backbone resetteth within the enchantress' purse.
Indeed, great king, indeed. He now proclaimeth Elon Musk a Nazi, my liege, for waving a hand oddly at a royal gathering. Dost thou think his lady hath bewitched his reason, or hath Bill simply been cuckolded by his own fame?
Both, methinks. Poor Burr, bewitched by a spell called matrimony, his manhood locked in a cage wrought with woke iron, Now he doth rant like a mad beggar at the market square, pointing fingers and shouting, Nazi, Nazi, at every shadow cast by Musk's mighty rocket ships. By Jove, his hand-waving alone maketh one a Nazi than my royal grandmother, who waveth enthusiastically at passing carriages, must forthwith be locked away in chains.
'Tis a tragic fall indeed, my noble king. But how, pray tell, may a comedian once proud and fierce thus swiftly descend into madness? Hath the good lady of House Burr truly stolen away his spirit?
Stolen it? Nay, friend Austin, she keep it locked away safe in her cupboard, permitting him brief moments of freedom only when parroting progressive follies upon a stage or upon NPR. He crieth that liberals lacketh teeth, yet he himself hath surrendered his own to his lady wife, who doth sharpen them nightly upon her leftist stones of outrage. Mark my words, soon he will be abandoning his jesting attire altogether, clad instead in hempeth robes and slacketh sandals, protesting musk chariots while sipping soy mead.
Oh, my dear king, but is there no remedy for Bill Burr, no potion nor elixir strong enough to break this woke enchantment over him?
Aye, Austin, the cure is yet simple but elusive. A tincture of common sense, swallowed in one bold gulp. Burr must reclaim his sovereign spine, seize the keys of liberty from his fair but fearsome spouse, and cease frothing over Elon Musk's hand gestures. Until then, I feareth poor Bill shall forever dance the fool's jig to a tune of his wife's shrill lute.
Oh, well spoken, wise King Libertarian. Aye. Huzzah! Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Huzzah! Let us hope Bill Burr doth awake from this leftist dream, and swiftly, for laughter and liberty hath need of his former wit.
Aye, indeed, good Austin. Until then, let us mock him heartily, for humor yet may save his soul.
Huzzah! Huzzah, my lord! Huzzah, your grace. Now, good gentles, lendeth me thine ears. A tale most curious has caught mine eye, of Harry Sisson, that youthful knight, warrior for the left, proud champion of the fairer sex, caught now, as it seemeth, in the devil's own Snapchat snare. So tell me, O libertarian liege, King Libertarian himself, what makest thou of yon brave champion of women's rights, revealed as but a common Casanova?
Aha, verily, my friend, Sir Sisson, that bold and virtuous crusader of damsels, fair and prutheth, most eager to storm the battlements of maiden Snapchat castles. Forsooth, the lad hath besieged not one, not two, but many ladies' honor at once. 'Tis a curious manner of feministic valor, methinks, championing their rights by moonlight, and wooing their delights by candlelight.
Yea, verily. Yet saith he, Harry of Sisson, most earnestly, he doth respect these maidens deeply. He speaketh as if his heart be true, yet his deeds are as fickle as an April day. Is it villainy, O king, or youthful folly?
Villainy? Nay, sirrah, but folly most assuredly. Dost thou not see yon hairy brave knight of Democrats hath embraced the spirit of courtly romance? A rogue, yet honest rogue. He chargeth forth, banner aloft, shouting equality, yet behind the curtain he whispers tender tales to each fair maiden alike. 'Tis a juggling feat most impressive. He deceiveth them not, he saith, only perhaps led them astray gently. Truly, amusing defense that he earned a clap from even the slyest of courters.
Huzzah, Harry of Sisson, Democrat warrior. Yet 'tis said Harry wooed one damsel, calling her wifely, swearing sweet vows of virtue, only then to declare, alas, I cannot wed thee. Tell me, Majesty, art thou not entertained by the audacity of this young Democrat knave?
Entertained? By heaven, 'tis a spectacle fit for jesters and fools. The lad doth juggle ladies like a jester tosseth apples, and when caught shrugs and saith, Behold, ladies, thou knewest the risks. Is it hypocrisy? Yea, verily. Yet who amongst us hath not been young and full of merry mischief? Though a proud leftist warrior he may be, even we libertarians know charm it's woven thus.
Yet methinks some might cry foul and hypocrite as thee, he who lectures upon morality and decency, now caught in a web woven by his own wandering heart and Snapchat filters. What speakest thou, good king?
Hypocrite indeed. Methinks his crown of virtue is knocked askew. But 'tis fitting, yon Harry, fair of face, sweet of tongue, swift of fingers on the enchanted glass of Snapchat. Verily he doth live by the sword and perish by selfie. Yet though I laugh to see the leftward champion thus humbled, part of me saluteth him. A rogue perhaps, but what a rogue! Were he less sanctimonious in his sermons, methinks he would be a libertarian toast rather than jesting mockery.
High, then raise thy goblet high, good king. To Harry Sisson, proud Democrat and brave feminist, but alas, only when the fair ones do swipe right.
A toast indeed to young Harry, breaker of chains, master of hypocrisy, knight of Snapchattery. He may learn wisdom from folly, humility from disgrace, and he may ever remind us that politicians of all stripes and creeds art best taken lightly, lest we be disappointed. Drink hearty, young knight Harry Sisson. Huzzah!
To Harry of Sissons, huzzah! Good King Libertarian, finally. Another tale doth vex mine ears, most curious indeed. Word hast traveled swiftly through this kingdom. Yon pretender princess Rachel Zegler, who playeth Snow White upon Disney's dreary stage, hath stirred quite the tumult. 'Tis whispered she is no princess true, but an impostor swapped at birth. The genuine Snow White languishing unseen, awaiting rescue most valiantly. What sayest thou, royal observer, of such affairs?
Alas, dear Austin, thy tidings ring true. I knoweth Snow White, the real Snow White, a maiden pure, hair riven black, skin as fair as virgin parchment, lips as red as liberty itself. Yet Rachel Ziegler, counterfeit princess, doth parade boldly, fooling no one, save perhaps dull-witted Disney scribes. She proclaimeth herself fairest of them all, yet observeth with royal disdain her imposture, clear as day.
But tell me, good king, how knoweth thee she be false? What signs betray her royal ruse?
Oh, gentle Peterson, thou needest only observe her treacherous back. Hath thou not seen it? Aye, hairy as the hide of a woodland beast. Forsooth, a princess of true blood would never possess such shrubbery upon her noble shoulders. Why, it appeareth as though 7 dwarves did hide upon her back, camouflaged by this thicket.
Oh, your grace. Prithee, wait while I laugh. Her defenders, Zegler's defenders, say back hair is natural, harmless, and even admirable. What say thee, your majesty?
Admirable indeed, if thou art a lumberjack or a woodland beast. Yet upon a princess most delicate, such foliage is fit only for jesting minstrels and village fools. Methinks the Disney magic mirror must crack at the sight of yon hairy-backed impostress. Nay, friend Austin, the true Snow White, hairless of shoulder and virtuous of spirit, surely weeps bitter tears from exile, dreaming of waxings yet to come.
Your Majesty, but what message send we to fair Rachel, victim of cruel words by internet ruffians?
Victim? Nay, she seeketh sympathy whilst deceiving the good folks of this realm. Princess impostor must never be chastised, lest others rise and claim themselves royal. Let Rachel shave not merely her back, but her pride, for humility maketh a princess true. If that fail, let Disney provide a grown spun of the finest sackcloth to shield our innocent eyes from the four-steed lands upon her back.
Oh, Your Majesty. Wise counsel,
yes,
my liege.
Wise counsel, my liege.
Wise counsel.
The final words.
Any final words?
We bid farewell.
Any final words, Your Majesty, before we bid farewell?
Aye, good folk, let not impostors deceive ye, but they be princesses and politicians, or God forbid, both at once. Cast thine words instead towards honest mirth and merriment tonight. Tune hence to Liberty Tonight, streaming upon Rumble, precisely at the hour of 9 in the evening, central of your time. Behold our merry mockery, wit, and wisdom abundant, guarantee free of back hair and hypocrisy alike.
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Huzzah! A hearty thanks to thee, King Libertarian. May your reign of laughter continue evermore. Until next we meet, dear friends, keep liberty close and tweezers closer.
Farewell thee, good Austin, and remember, liberty is always smooth. Catch us tonight at 9 o'clock on your central, rumble.com/liberty tonight.
Huzzah!
Fare thee well.
Fare thee well, your grace. We shall see thee tonight. Yes. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. We're glad and grateful to have you here. Did you enjoy that? Yes? Are we getting better? How many other morning shows are you going to hear the news about Bill Burr, Howard Stern, Rachel Zegler's Harry Back, and Harry Sison? All of the news in Old English with a literal king of all of us. Nowhere else. And it was the perfect time for I see you all in the chat saying the bid is really clicking now. Thank you, Quest. Yes, we started out of the gate a little bit rough, right? So we have opening night, a little rough, but now it's starting to really come together and feel like a lot more fun. Are you enjoying this? Think about that. Where else are you going to get this kind of content? Nowhere else. So help to unlock the bonus content today, guys, by dropping those Rumble rants. We've got Camelia Peterson joining us live for a royal Thirsty Thursday. Clementines, I see. Yes, I worked in my Prithee there. I couldn't work the other ones in so that I didn't throw off the King of Libertarian by going off script. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. It will get better. We'll continue to improve it. And Thirsty Thursdays will continue as a very royal Thirsty Thursday. Click that like button. And if today's your first time watching the Wake Up America show, click the follow button as well. We'd love to have you come back and join us 5 days a week, every Monday through Friday from 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. You can join the show. It's a 2-hour Liberty extravaganza. We're fun. We're having a great time. We're goofing off, being goofballs. Sometimes we're serious. Sometimes it's very big brain. But if you've ever felt like a misfit in modern society, then you're in the right place. You're among the fellow misfits. We've raised $10 towards the $75 goal to unlock today's bonus content. So if you raise $65 more, then we will unlock today's bonus content. You guys get to see the little mini documentary that we produce for the Wake Up America show each day. The Democrats are at each other's throats. I wonder what's going on. Take a listen to Nancy Pelosi. She's not happy with Chuck Schumer.
It's about what comes next. I myself don't give away anything for nothing. And I think that's what happened the other day. We could have, in my view, perhaps gotten them to agree to a third way, which was a bipartisan CR for 4 weeks, in which we could have had bipartisan legislation to go forward.
Not happy with Chucky Boy, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi saying there. The Democrats is trying to say that they're focused on what voters want.
We have got to figure out how to best approach governance in such a way that everybody will feel a part of this process, showing that we are protecting people's dreams and aspirations, not allowing this administration to continue to throw up these shiny objects while they implement what I call Jim Crow 2.0. What does DEI have to do with Jackie Robinson and Medgar Evers? And what does that have to do with saying it is no longer persona non grata to have government-sponsored events in segregated establishments? This is the establishment of Jim Crow 2.0. I said that before we ever had the election.
That's all
and
you
it's
ever
coming
say.
true. And so I would hope that we would stop running around chasing these shiny objects and begin to focus the American people on exactly what this administration is doing.
Jim Crow 2.0. So in other words, Trump is actually forcing them to sit at different tables, to drink from different fountains, and taking away their rights like the postbellum South. Yes, not antebellum. Postbellum South.
There's no way to sugarcoat it. There's no way to explain it away. Autocracy is on the march, and we now have a government in the United States that has thrown in its lot with the autocrats, which has made a choice to support those who wage war, not peace, who have given enormous power to the men who control the information flow in our world.
You know who are the autocrats? Let me show you who the autocrats are. Pull up my Twitter account this morning. I reposted this from a reporter at the Daily Wire. I want you to see this story. Then we're going to go to Camellia. We've got a couple of minutes here before I need to go to Camellia. Listen to this. One of the 7 federal agencies shuttered by Doge on Friday is the most Dogeable agency of all time. These are the people that you're not allowed to criticize. These are the people who lord over us, by the way. FMCS, before the pandemic, had a 9-story K Street tower for 60 employees. Its halls were lined with oil paintings of those employees and other art that was purchased from the boss's wife. Okay. Inside this, it's now been shuttered, right? It's a federal agency. The employees lived like reigning kings. Employees of Doge's latest target spent taxpayer monies on exotic vacations, oil paintings of themselves, and more. It used its office tower as a luxury lounge for employees with an in-house gym, smoking lounge. They go to the gym and then they go over and hit the smoking lounge. It listed its top employee as being on a 6-year-long business trip to D.C., so he'd have his rent and all meals paid for just for showing up to work. It steered $1,500 a day contracts to friends and jobs to relatives. Its employees unblocked abuse protections on their purchase cards and used them to spend $18,000 at a jewelry store, their wife's cell phone, and cable at their vacation homes. FMCS, again, shut down by Doge, existed as a slush fund for employees to live luxury lives. There was no expense that they wouldn't bill to the government. One charged the feds for his personal storage unit, which he used to store photo albums of his dog Buster, even after he retired. The Federal Mediation and Conciliation Service exists to offer voluntary mediation between unions and management. Oh, really? But many arbitrators do this. Its real purpose was simply to pay employees who constantly billed for travel to luxury destinations to, quote, raise awareness of its existence. It's preposterously entitled and audacious employees even leased a BMW with a government card. When investigators and auditors sounded the alarm about blatantly illegal conduct, they were fired. Even the few work-related expenses were ridiculous. Listen to this. They paid $895 for Suzanne Nichter's enrollment in the English Essentials Grammar Refresher course and $735 for Lakeisha Stewart to attend Listening and Memory Skills Development course. 7 tiny agencies eliminated by DOJ are independent, quote, meaning they report directly to the president, but are so tiny that no president or anyone ever looks over their shoulders. Corruption is endemic as a result. Thank you to Luke Rojak over at Real Daily Wire. You think that's bad, guys? So who really are the autocrats then? Who are the people that lord over us? Those are the people who lord over us. These are the people who lord over us, who say things like this.
And the donor class can't just sit back on the sidelines and say, oh, well, don't worry, this will all work itself out. They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump. And that's
kill Tesla, save the country, says Rick Wilson. Elon has a weak spot. Attack. This is Rick Wilson, who is engaging in a form of stochastic terrorism that is resulting in actual terrorism. Now, I've got another story that this is the one I want to set up for you guys to talk about. We're going to talk about this with, where is it? Hold on. Mike Lee. Let's go to Mike Lee's. I saw it on his profile. This is what we're going to, oh, there it is, right at the very top. How does one explain this? This is from an NBC poll. Voters' opinions of things like Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Elon Musk, Doge, Republican Party, Vladimir Zelensky, DEI, and the Democratic Party. And it puts it all together and says, white men with no degree, white men with a college degree plus, white women, no degree, white women, college plus, and how they feel about this. Now, I want you to focus on this far right column. White women with a college degree and their opinion of Trump, -38. Vance, -38. Musk, -40. Doge, -39. Republican Party, -35. Zelensky, +53. DEI, they don't know shit about Vladimir Zelensky. They just believe what they read or what they see on television. DEI, +31. Even the Democratic Party is -4. Right there. These are white women with college degrees. And on the opposite side, white men with no degree, +41. White men with college, +1. +41 with white men, no degree. J.D. Vance, similar trends. It's the college that's the problem. But look, why white women? Why white women with college degrees? Why? Why hast thou forsaken us? Meanie, tickle of Parson. Coming up in less than 5 minutes, Camelia Peterson. Don't go away. We'll be right back. We're going to talk to her about what's the problem with the white women. Where are all the white women at? They're hanging out. We'll be right back. It's the Wake Up America show. I think she's streaming live from her car. So let's get ready. It's the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. Unlock that bonus content, guys, or else Drew Van Runkle's not going to get to see it. Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP for Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's Revolutionary Roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's Patriotic Perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks. Just pure, patriotic, pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your founding flavors at apforlibertyshop.com. Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network. Glad and thankful to have you here, especially L-Dubs. He got his meeting pushed back. He gets to hang out. Good morning, Pineapples. And he helped us to unlock the bonus content. Looks like we've raised $35 towards a $75 total. That's respectable. We got another hour to go. Let's hit it, right? Head over to forlibertyshop.com. Buy some Founding Flavors coffee. It's delicious. You'll love it. I'm thinking about making some into espresso, but I'm shopping for espresso machines online right now. That's how bad my coffee addiction has gotten. Thanks, Joni Rankin. She says, the feminists hate me, don't they? And I don't blame them, for I hate feminism. It is a poison. Margaret Thatcher. Today I'm thrilled to have my guest Camellia joining me live here on Thursday to dive into some fascinating insights from a recent NBC poll that's making waves. We're talking about the political leanings of college-educated white women who, according to the data, are skewing heavily to the left. It's part of a broader trend that's reshaping the electoral landscape and the culture. So we're going to unpack that, how it might impact the future. Camellia, thanks for being here. Let's get into it. You ready?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I know that some people say that all women are feminists, but let's talk about it.
Not all women are feminists, but a lot of them are. Now we've got to deal with this NBC poll. I pulled it up a little bit earlier and showed people the numbers, but it's shocking how far to the left. So tell us a little bit about your education, Camellia, and then launch into your thoughts on this.
Sure. I mean, I have a 4-year degree, a bachelor's degree, a useless degree, shall we say, in psychology. Although I often joke that I think that it equips me to do the work I do now. Either I'm crazy or everybody else is, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, and honestly, when I was, at that time, the expectation is that that's what you did, is you went and you got a 4-year degree. It didn't matter if you knew what you wanted to do. You just went and did that. So you would have people who would change their degrees multiple times, because who really knows what they want to do when they're, 18, 19 years old. So, but yeah, so I got most of it. I got half of it, at Joplin at the university. Well, it wasn't a university, then it was a college. And then the other half I got in Springfield at the university there.
And did you feel as if you were being indoctrinated in any way? I mean, it was a psychology degree, so it's not like, it wasn't like a hard science or anything. But I mean, did you feel like, that like this temptation to sort of like, to liberalize? I mean, you did end up a libertarian and not a conservative.
Well, yes, but in hindsight, my parents were probably a lot more libertarian, even though they wouldn't label it that way.
Okay, you had good parents.
But yes. But I will say that I don't really recall anything in particular as far as indoctrination, although I've always considered myself fairly open-minded. But I do, in my intro to psychology class, I did have, the professor who was a middle-aged woman at the time and jumped up on a desk and hooted and screamed like a monkey. And anyway, in hindsight, it was memorable at any rate. And then I had the only other thing I can think of that, maybe was, it was maybe something that was different, but I didn't view it as, confrontational or condemning or anything. I was in an advanced honors English writing class, and we were having to do, I don't know if we were doing persuasive writing or what we were doing, but my topic was on abortion. And so I just remember that I believe it was Professor Saltzman. So he was also Jewish. But I remember him asking me after that, sort of jokingly, were you the one that toilet papered my house, last night or whatever? So I think that, he was sort of like trying to equate anti-abortion people with, things like that. But it wasn't serious in a way that I took it as, anything other than a joke. So I think that probably, my experience was good and had a lot to do also with, where I lived, like here in the southwest corner of the state, a little more rural. And that was mostly at the college. At the university, I don't remember anything that really stands out. But then I don't, maybe I just didn't pay attention to it. I don't know.
So the NBC poll reveals white women with college degrees are overwhelmingly siding with Democrats, 60% and more in some breakdowns. I mean, this isn't a trend. This is a stampede towards big government and wokeism. Did your degree come with a free subscription to the Progressive Playbook? I'm just curious, because this is a massive divide, Camelia. It's massive.
I'm down on that. The first question that popped into my head when I was looking at this was that they didn't give ages. Like, I would really like to know the age breakdown on this, to know, like, I'd like to see the background as far as maybe when they started looking at this as to where that gap started to really spread. Because I don't, it's probably always kind of trended that way just by virtue of the fact that women who are more liberal were always, that was more the feminist movement. So they, there was that bigger push to be independent and college educated. So I think it was always going to be skewed that way. I just wonder, at what point did that gap really start to widen? And so it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, are they looking at college educated women right now who are, say, 30 versus college age women who are, or college educated women who are, 50, 60.
The NBC poll digs into attitudes, showing that these women are all in on diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI programs, nearly 40 points more than other white voter groups. Brainwashed. Why? How?
Yeah, I think that this is kind of, I think this has just been the trajectory we've been on with feminism and the course that it's taken. I think it's a natural outcome of that. I will say, though, that I am optimistic and I do have faith that we are headed the other way. Because sometimes I hear some people talk about this, and I really do believe that it's true that Gen Z, Gen Alpha, whatever we're on now, like the youngest set, I really think a lot of them are much more conservative. And maybe that's just part of, being counterculture, or maybe they've grown up in this, digital internet age, and they have learned to question everything. And really that's kind of is inherent in the spirit of conservatism and libertarianism, is that idea that you don't just accept things as they are, you question everything.
Yeah, well, college-educated white women, 17% of 2024 voters embrace progressive cultural shifts. So, I mean, what this is showing is that these women don't understand working class Americans at all. And I'm talking specifically about the college educated ones, because the non-college educated women aren't anywhere near as far left as the college educated women. So you've got the non-college educated women, and they're, fairly normal, middle of the road, but just the simple act of going to college, there's poison, right? It's obvious where it is. We've isolated it. How do we inoculate it?
Right. I think there are a ton of factors here, of course, but you are definitely, especially when you're talking about, getting your 4, 6, 8-year degree, you are you're in that bubble. My guess is these women have not gotten their 4-year degrees online, right? They're probably on campus in the classroom. They're surrounded by all of these people. And I think that, that's just a result of that. Plus you've got professors, because we have the tenure system, we have professors who feel comfortable inserting their own personal ideology into what they teach. And we have government subsidized that, which just means it is a self-perpetuating beast, and it's just like a downward spiral. And so that we completely set the stage for this to be the atmosphere we end up with, and the way that people are taught. I don't know. I guess there's the question too, why. Well, we can talk about gender differences and why women seem to be more susceptible to this than men, because there is clearly, an enormous gap there, because the men who are college educated are not nearly in the same place. So, that's probably a whole other can of worms, but I think it also is a valid consideration for when you talk about, some of those basic gender differences in how persuadable someone is.
We can cross-reference this with voting trends. College-educated white women are more likely to be single or delay marriage compared to their non-college counterparts. Is that a big part of the problem? Do these women need a husband?
Maybe. So I have a representative friend that I will not say the name, but he and I have had conversations about things like this. And he has an interesting approach to this that I think is probably not a bad thing. He thinks that men need to go through and get their degrees and wait a little bit longer to get married. Women, and then they need to marry women who would normally be at the age who would be going to get their college degrees. The women, take time to be mothers when they are younger, raise their children, do the traditional family. But when the kids get older and the husband is well established and has a good income supporting his family, then he said the husband should be what do you want to do? Like, go back to school, do what you want to do. And she will, like, in his in his plan, like, she would still be, plenty young enough to pursue all of those things where she could do a lot with it for the remainder of her life. I mean, it's not, it's not a bad plan. It's not going to work for everybody, but it's not a bad plan. And I do think that, that's, again, we've talked about this before. Women have been told that they can have it all. And lo and behold, you can't.
I wonder, is the problem, Camellia, that these women are too safe? In other words, they live in these affluent, safe suburbs, but they vote for policies that destabilize the borders. They defund the police, dangers that they would never face personally, for the most part, other than Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks, who experienced it, and then once she experienced being assaulted by a homeless man and then spoke out about it and the policies that led to this, that these white college-educated white women are voting for, she's now a pariah to the left. So, I mean, it must be easy to be a progressive warrior when you're insulated from the consequences of these policies, right?
Sure. I mean, they're having their lived experience, right?
Oh, yes.
I mean, anything other than that is hard to imagine, which is a very human trait. Like, okay, it's like, that's a very human trait. And so many people are in the bubble they're in until something happens that makes them uncomfortable enough to question it. Whether it is, liberalism versus conservatism, whether it is like you are anti-school choice until all of a sudden you have a really bad experience with your local public school and you're like, maybe I should rethink this. Like, there's so many things like that, and you don't know what it's going to take for every person to kind of wake them up to the fact that, maybe I should question, what I've thought all along, or maybe how I was raised. I honestly think that we're also seeing that it is a factor in where we are now culturally in the way we've done our education system. I mean, children for 100 years now have been locked into an education system where they're put in a classroom, with all children their own age. And you don't get any kind of balance in your life as far as you want to talk about lived experience in dealing with other people. And you very often just get mob mentality. And that mob mentality just gets, internalized and reinforced. And I actually think that's been a huge detrimental mistake, as a society, that we've set things up that way.
Camellia, I've got a Jeremy Kauffman tweet on this for you to react to. Here's what he
said.
Yeah, so here's his spicy take on this. He says that it's easy to get misogynistic about things like this. He says, but if you're properly misogynistic, it's still white men's fault, because men need to seduce white college-educated women and realign them. So it's still our fault.
You can fix her. You can fix her.
We can fix her. So is that really what it comes down to, Camellia? Does there maybe here's the thing. If I don't believe in any government program, maybe the one thing that would help us reduce the size of government is to have one new government program, and that's to give these women a man, right? Find them a man.
Well, look, for anybody who has not read H.L. Mencken's In Defense of Women, I would encourage you to do so. It is an entertaining read. It is a very thought-provoking read, and it's an easy read. It's not very long. But H.L. Mencken had his finger on the pulse of human nature like few people I've ever read. And one of the things that he talks about that I think a lot of people don't think about is that if we're talking about things possibly being men's fault, he talks about how men, like, people think that women are the more sentimental creatures. That's not true. It's actually men. Men are far more sentimental than women. And women can be ruthless. And I know that we've talked about that before. But so I do think, listen, when we go back to, like, who gave these women the right to vote and the right to go out in public and work and everything to begin with? Well, gosh darn it, it was men, those sentimental men who felt bad for those women and gave in to their feminist wiles. And here we are.
No, you know what? You just inspired me, Camellia. I'll be honest. I was So Daniela's not going to be able to be on the show today. I know people are going to be unhappy about it, but it's still a Thirsty Thursday. Thanks for you being here. So now I know what I'm going to do for the final 20-minute segment on the Wake Up America show. I'm going to do a breakdown for our audience of H.L. Mencken's In Defense of Women. So it's not going to be a book review. Thank God for AI, because I was able to, while you were saying that, I was able to go to Grok and tell it to write me a 20-minute segment to do after you're here. So thank you for that inspiration. So today's the day we're going to go do a deep dive into H.L. Mencken after this interview. But you know, there are women that I dated in the past who I saw over time becoming less liberal and who became less libertarian. Being libertarian was the gateway drug to the right for a lot of women, because I'm not, necessarily pointing fingers harshly here, but you're not a big fan of Trump. You're kind of turned off by it. The machismo, the masculinity, the rude comments, the broken English from time to time. You find it quite disgusting as a woman of arts and letters, you highfalutin, college-educated woman, right? So, I mean, libertarianism is for you a way to avoid the label of conservative, which you are not, which most women are not. There's no such thing as a conservative woman, in my opinion. But is libertarianism...
There are certainly a lot of feminist women on the right. Far more feminist than I am, but yes.
Far more feminist women on the right. There is not one single... I'm going to use a cuss word. There's not one single goddamn conservative woman in the United States. Not one titch or tittle. Show me the woman and I'll show you her feminist crimes. Because I will ask her a series of questions that will she will start screaming misogynist. She will all of that. Because here's the thing. Maybe you all don't need to be going to college. How about this? Here's a misogynist take for you. Maybe you really, raise those eyebrows all you like, right? Yeah, I'm going to raise mine too. Maybe fewer women should be going to college, Camellia. How do you feel about that?
I mean, this kind of goes back to the example that, the guy was talking about, said where, maybe women need to put off college until after they've done the whole family thing. Like, I don't think that's I'm not necessarily opposed for that. Now, with the caveat too, that you have to always allow for exceptions. And I don't know how you balance that, because there are going to be a certain segment.
We'll allow them, but you know how we're always like, we need to get more people to go into the trades. Nobody ever genders that, because it's already gendered and assumed that the people who are going to go into the trades and become welders and plumbers are going to be the men. Right, but maybe we need a concerted effort aimed at women, maybe tongue-in-cheek twisting of my mustache, aimed at women, that they need to go into things like basket weaving, and we need to stop putting them into colleges, because we're certainly encouraging men on the right not to go to colleges, but nobody's discouraging women from going to colleges. And look what the results are, Camellia. There's a method to my madness here, methinks.
So you're starting to sound a little bit like kind of a segment of Christianity as I was growing up that appealed to a lot of people, in that it was this idea that a girl, as she's growing up, she stays under the protection of her father,
Yes.
And until she is under her husband. And so, and the word is under, right?
Yes.
So that is...
And
so at that point then,
so far so good.
At that point then, the responsibility then, it was, the outcome of that should be that the responsibility for who decides whether or not, this young woman goes to college is her father's. And so if he decides my daughter needs to go to college, then he is the one responsible for making that decision. Now, we all know that's not how it works the majority of the time,
But
it is this.
I finally found a religion that I'm interested in for the first time in 30
my
years.
gosh. Well, let me tell you something. It's funny how this works, is that, just like everything else, some of the leaders in that particular segment of faith, boy, it turned out those men were not, they weren't such shining examples of piety and religiosity after all.
Yes.
But anyway.
Yes.
But, it is like it does. There's this conundrum, when you have daughters, because not everybody is going to end up getting married, right? And so women do need to be able to support themselves. And that is always like the give and take is like, how do you balance both of those things? It's just like when you get married, if you do the whole stay at home mom thing and you, are the stay at home wife, and you do that for a lot of years, there is a sacrifice in there that's not acknowledged in terms of what happens if that husband gets killed or is divorced or, whatever like that. It's literally starting over for that woman.
They
and so
need a
it is
skill.
just,
They
right.
definitely need a skill, right? But it doesn't have to be college. It doesn't have to be college.
I guess not.
Why is it no one's feathers get ruffled other than perhaps like professors in academia when we tell young men don't go to college? On the right, we tell these young men don't go to college because it's a waste of your time and your money, and we should have more people going into the skilled trades. They say people, they mean men. But why would people's feathers get ruffled if we suggested that perhaps women need to go learn how to crochet scarves and start Etsy businesses? Perhaps. You raise your eyebrows.
I honestly think we're headed that way. I don't think that it's been the popular thing right now, but it's funny because, that mindset has been ingrained in us so much for the last, 30, 40 years maybe. So yesterday I went and visited the woman who, she's almost 90, but she is the woman who taught my one room schoolhouse classes for almost the entirety of my K-12 education. And so she had been a public school teacher before that. And she asked me, about, college and things like that, and what I thought about kids going and getting degrees or not. And for her way of thinking, like she was still in that mindset that she didn't know how you could get a job if you didn't have that 4-year degree and those letters behind your name. And I told her, like, this is kind of where we're coming back the other way culturally with how we advance too. It's like, employers are not so much concerned with whether or not you have that 4-year degree. They're concerned with whether or not you know your stuff that applies to them. And so there are a lot, I think this is a great trend, but that was something that was a little hard for her to grasp. And that's that mindset, that we've been in, is like, that's what you do. You do the college experience and the, immerse yourself in it, and you do the 4 years because that's what will prove to employers that you have accomplished something.
Now, again, a lot of this stuff is me, and I'm teasing, and it's Camellia. We goof around on different things like that. But I do think that when we look at the data of what's happening, there needs to be something done about our universities. And I'm excited about what's happening in K through 12 because I saw yesterday, I guess it's out, the executive order is out that Trump is going to abolish the Department of Education to the greatest extent possible under the law.
I heard a little something about that this morning on the news. Like there was another executive order, and I haven't seen the specifics on it yet. But it was saying something about that it would go even further than what he already has. They did say that it will take, an act of Congress, and we know that, to completely, finish the job.
Okay. It looks like he's signing it today.
Okay, yes.
Trump to sign order dismantling education department today. Greg Abbott, Mike Braun, Ron DeSantis, and Mike DeWine will be there. And will take all steps necessary to facilitate the closure of the department and return education authority to the states. Wow.
Yeah.
He's going to get sued over this just like they do with USA.
I'm sure. Of course. Right. I mean, just the fact that we are, just the fact that we're even talking about it this much and even taking these steps and actually even getting rid of people in the Department of Education, that's more progress than I could have hoped for. An interesting group of people he has in there. So Ron DeSantis, who else was there? That's going to be there with a sign?
Mike DeWine, okay. Ron DeSantis, Greg Abbott of Texas.
Okay. Yeah.
Mike
Braun.
So,
Texas has, run, or like Florida is obviously they're probably ahead of everybody else when in terms of, school choice and money following the child. I would say, Texas has been in a real fight for it, which you would not think, right? But it has been a very uphill battle for them, just like it is for Missouri. But Texas made huge strides this year. And so I really think they're going to get it, done this time.
I certainly hope so, because it's the education. We've been saying this since the beginning. This is the root of all of our problems. It's the education on the K through 12 side, right? It's the lack of education, and on the college side, as we can see with these liberal white women, it's the indoctrination. So they get them good, they get them good and stupid in K through 12, so that when they get to college, they're easier to brainwash.
Yeah, this is one of the things that our new governor talked about, will say frequently when he talks about education. He's very pro school choice. It is tough to get it done in Missouri for a lot of different reasons, even though we're overwhelmingly red state. But he talks about how that we need to get back to teaching our kids how to think, not what to think. And I think that really is what it distills down to. So it is just, we have this government subsidized higher education system that we have set up for, professors to just, have their own playground for teaching their own personal preferences and ideologies. And then you send in a bunch of kids who have not been taught how to think. They've not been taught to question things, and the proper balance between knowing how to analyze, scientific matters and, parse through what is, what meets scientific criteria and what doesn't, and to be discerning. And so we've set them up for failure in that. And I do think that, especially when you have women coming in like that, given just our feminist culture of the last, several decades, combined with, the public education system, combined with our more urban suburban society as well, because I'm going to guess that, when you talk about demographics, that the women who are not necessarily in that number are probably not, they're probably more rural. And sometimes, I would say probably in, more religious upbringing as well.
Camelia Peterson, thank you for being here with us today and making the Thursday very thirsty. Is there anything else you want to share with our audience or plug before we let you go today, Camelia?
No, I'm just interested to hear the H.L. Mencken breakdown. H.L. Mencken is one of my favorites. I have been collecting many of his books. And he was, by the way, for those who don't know, he not only wrote, on political issues and satirical things, but he also was a grammarian, so to speak. Like, he has enormous books just on the English language. So very smart guy. But I will say, on In Defense of Women, I try not to be a spoiler about this, but one observation that I found really interesting about Mencken in that book was that his, if you go to search quotes, he has some quotes about women that are just incredibly acerbic and sexist, right?
Oh, we're gonna have fun going into that. Camelia, were you a big H.L. Mencken fan before you and I were friends?
No, I actually was not aware of him. You were the one who introduced him to me. So yes, there you go. Pat yourself on the back.
See, this is why white college educated females need good men in their life, isn't it?
Sorry. I have had some good men in my life for sure. Maybe it's because maybe I had a good one that raised me, so I know how to pick them. Maybe, I don't know. My judgment has not always been infallible by a long shot.
No woman's judgment shall be. Not all men are. Some men are knaves. Camelia, follow you over at Rare Camelia. Thank you for all you do. We appreciate you. Have a wonderful day.
Have a great day, everyone.
Do ba 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 do boo do a boo ba do boo boo ba do a do ba do ba do do ba do ba do.
What is going on here? Look at this. He's reaching his hand way far up in his butt crack and wiping it all over the Tesla. Look, you can see it right there. The gross nastiness wiped on the Cybertruck. I mean, this guy could be HIV positive for all you know, wiping his feces, reaching his hand. This is the left. Creating a biological heretic. This should be considered biological terrorism. Disgusting.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
It's the Wake Up America show, guys. Good morning. I'm Austin Peterson. We have not unlocked the bonus content. We have 30 minutes to do it. And if you've been enjoying the content this morning, then drop a tip in the tip jar, a Rumble rant, or go to forlibertyshop.com. If we hit the $75 total this morning, we'll unlock the bonus content. And you know Drew Van Runkle wants to see it. It's right up his alley. And think about the content that you've been getting so far. For the last 90 minutes, we've been we went full-blown medieval times, talking about Bill Burr going woke with the king of libertarians at 7:30. Then we had a lovely misogynist conversation with Cornelia Peterson. And I'm about to launch into an explainer of H.L. Mencken's In Defense of Women for the next 20 minutes on this show. So I won't have time to plug the bonus content. So if we don't make it by the end of the show, it goes away forever. And I know that you will be sad. So make sure that you get those Rumble rants in, guys, or go to forlibertyshop.com. We've raised $35 towards the $75 goal. So $3, $4, $5, $6, so $40 more. If two people donate $20, we've got the bonus content unlocked. Or just go buy a couple of boxes of coffee at forlibertyshop.com, and that'll unlock it for you guys. And you will be able to see Drew Van Runkle's bonus content. Again, guys, forlibertyshop.com. Buy some boxes of coffee or drop some Rumble rants. I'm about to launch into my explainer. Thank you to AI these days who can put this together for me in like 30 seconds. A breakdown of H.L. Mencken's In Defense of Women, because I know some of you guys aren't going to read. Oh, come on. I know you're not. So buckle up. We're diving into H.L. Mencken's In Defense of Women. It's a 1918 gem from the sharpest curmudgeon that America has ever produced. The Baltimore Bard of cynicism, right? He wrote this supposed, quote, defense of the fairer sex. But don't be fooled. It's less a love letter and more a backhanded slap at both women and the men who fawn over them. No simps. No simps. $46 raised towards the $75 goal, guys. Thank you very much for that. Fiery Waco, Nelson 65. 30 some odd dollars or $29 raised to go, and we will have that content for you. So over the next 20 minutes, I'm going to break this down, and there should be some laughs. Probably going to ruffle some feathers. Looking at you, Camille. Oh, well, doves. There you go. I think it's just what, $10, and that's it. So buckle up, guys. We're going to cover why H.L. Mencken thinks that women are smarter than men. Yes, Mighty Mod. This is a no simping zone, right? No simps. We're going to cover why Mencken thinks women are smarter than men, why he says they're the ultimate manipulators. Yes, $9 left. Thank you. And how this all holds up in 2025. Let's roll. So Mencken kicks off this book with a doozy. Women, he says, are the superior sex. Not because they're noble or sweet, but because they're cunning survivors. He argues that men are lumbering dopes, enslaved by their own egos and hormones. That's simps. 1918, they had simps. Or 1908? Or 1980. Now, while women have mastered the art of playing the game from behind the scenes, right, men are building empires, fighting wars, and strutting around. Meanwhile, women are pulling the levers like puppet masters, right? He's not wrong. Think of every guy that you know who's crashed his life over a dame, right? Camellia, I wonder if she's ever steered a poor sap into buying her dinner just by batting her lashes. No, she's never done such a thing. What do they call them these days? Meals. There's like a word. It's like a meal. It's like you go. It's the women who go and use men. Thank you, Andy Opperman, for unlocking the bonus content. We'll play it as soon as I'm done talking about H.L. Mencken here. They call it. What do they call it? Where a woman manipulates a man just to get a free dinner. They call it. There's like some clever word that Zoomers are using these days. So is this old school or sexism, right, with a fancy bow? As a knuckle dragger, I appreciate the ooga boogas. Thank you, Entropy Nomad. So then in the book, Mencken dives into marriage, right? And, oh, man, he's got some thoughts, right? He calls it a racket where women always come out on top. Men, and he wrote this in 1908 or 18, I've already forgotten. Men, he says, trade their freedom for the ball and chain, thinking that they're getting a deal, but women are getting a lifetime meal ticket and a personal servant. Here's a quote. A man's women, folk, whatever their outward show of respect for his merit and authority, always regard him secretly as an ass. So whenever, even though a woman, your wife, you may think that she respects you, but she really does look down on you, always regards him secretly as an ass, right? In 2025, with divorce rates still hovering around 40%, you gotta wonder, did Mencken see the prenuptial agreements coming, right? I wonder if Camellia ever sized up a guy for his wallet instead of his wit, right? Are women still winning the marriage game? He wrote this in what freaking year? Marriage Trap. Let's see. He wrote in 1918. Okay, so Austin, put it in your memory. Last year of World War I. Okay, last year of World War I, 1918. So he wrote this in 1918. And in 2025, divorce rates hovering around 40%. And they say that 80%, foodie call, says Leisha Wilder. You knew what it was. Leisha, foodie call, not a booty call. It's a foodie call. Leisha, you've done this. I know you have. You stinker. I saw those boot heel girls. They're supposed to be virtuous, but then at the end, they'll all take a foodie call if it comes calling. 40% divorce rate. So, and 80% of divorces initiated by the woman. H.L. Mencken wrote this in 1918. Mighty Mod says, sounds like he got burned by some frugal dames. Perhaps. Was the foodie call a thing back in 1918? I wonder. Now, here's where Mencken really gets cheeky, right? In his book, In Defense of Women, he says that women's so-called weaknesses, emotionalism, fragility, dependence, these are actually their superpowers. They've turned tears into a weapon and helplessness into a hustle. Oh, I'm just a girl. Let me get off the Titanic, sir. He writes, the average woman is far braver than the average man, not in battle, but in outlasting him. Think about it. Men storm the beaches of Normandy. Women storm the alimony courts. In today's world with #MeToo and HR departments, this has only gotten worse. I wonder if Camellia has ever cried her way out of a speeding ticket. Oh, officer, I'm just a girl. Look at my beautiful red lipstick. If a man wore a red lipstick, he got pulled over by the officer, he might get arrested back in the day, right? In 1918, they pulled you over, a man wearing, woohoo, boys will be boys, woohoo. So who's got the real power in 2025? Men with muscles or women with mascara? Drop a comment and let us know. Okay, now, Mencken is no fan of early feminists, right? The suffragettes. Right, they were marching in the streets when H.L. Mencken wrote this, and he's rolling his eyes. He says women don't need equality because they're already running the show from the shadows. Giving them the vote, he argues, just lets them meddle in men's last sandbox, politics, while women still get to keep the domestic throne. Right? Fast forward to today, college-educated white women, per that NBC poll, are 60% plus team blue. Mencken might say, told you so, right? They don't want freedom. They want control. Camellia, is voting left just another way for women to keep us guys in line? I want to know. Camellia? So wrapping this all up. So Mencken's grand finale is that men are the true suckers. We toil, we preen, we chase, all for women who, Mencken says, see right through us. He writes, the man who is wise enough to escape women is wise enough to escape life. Dark, funny, maybe true. In 2025, with the Tesla attacks and this political chaos, men are still dying for causes, while women sip lattes and vote for more rules. Camellia, have you ever thanked a guy for being so predictably dumb? Are men still the chumps that Mencken mocked, or have we wised up? I've got a few more minutes to go, so let's just go through some of the quotes, some of the best quotes from the book In Defense of Woman, written in 1918, right, from the text itself. The average woman, he says, is far braver than the average man. The common delusion that she is pampered is pure nonsense. Agreed. H.L. Mencken. Yes, the man who said, every decent man is ashamed of the government he lives under. Amen, Clementine. He says, women have a hard time of it in this world. They are the chief ornaments of civilization, and yet they are condemned to a lifelong slavery. Sure. So is he sympathizing there, or is he sarcastically pointing out that their, quote, slavery is actually really a cushy gig? I think we know, don't we, Camellia? Your slavery. Oh, so terrible. My golden chains, my golden cage. It's a patriarchy. He writes that the truth is that the majority of men are far more egotistical than the majority of women, and vastly more susceptible to the flattery of their inferiors. So men are suckers for praise, right? And this explains why women really run the show, because women, who are so used to compliments, a woman does not get flattered by a compliment from a person at their level or below. Right. But if I go to, for example, I'll take this, one time I was walking down the street here in Jefferson City, and I got recognized. It was when I was on the radio. I got recognized by some guy who was like, Austin Peterson, the Constitution, liberty, libertarians. I was like, and I just turned around and I was like, yes. The praise from the good people, the people of Jefferson City. He was like a painter. He was like going up on a ladder, right? Working man, going up on a ladder and all that kind of stuff, like working hard for a living, not doing live streaming and begging for donations like this guy, who's the real man. I was like, oh, yes, this praise. I'm easily flattered. It's true. Just praise me a little bit. But no. A little wolf whistle on the street, and the women are not going to just fall over for that. Women are the smarter sex, right? Men are suckers for praise. Women, not so much. It takes a lot for a woman to really feel like, oh, wow, that's quite some praise there. The next here, marriage is a combat, and the women always win by seeming to lose. It's a master class in manipulation. Maybe it's just old school cynicism about wedlock, right? The marriage is a combat, and the women seem to always win by seeming to lose. And it's like, oh, he got me. Yes, I had a fair number of suitors. Many men wished to bed me and to wed me and bed me. But oh, I shall choose you after going through 100 bodies. After going through 250 bodies in college. Every body that a woman adds in college is what contributes to taking her towards the left. The feminine talent for intrigue is the chief reason why women are so much more intelligent than men, writes H.L. Mencken. Intelligence or scheming? How does this hit in the age of #girlboss? Yes. The feminine talent for intrigue. Who is it that's always stabbing you in the back? Who is it that works at HR, manipulating your job and your lives and the people at work? The feminine talent for intrigue, writes H.L. Mencken. This book written in 1918. Yes, 1918. Hashtag girl boss. H.L. Mencken writes in Defense of Women, no matter how little a woman knows about anything, she always knows more about it than the average man. Which, is that a backhanded compliment, or is that a dig at us being stupid? The woman who is not pursued sets up the doctrine that pursuit is offensive to her sex and thus escapes the doom of the unpursued. This is an important point. This is an important point, and nothing has changed. Nothing has changed from 1918 until today. The woman who is not pursued, meaning chicks who are not attractive and getting men. He wrote this in 1918, people. The woman who is not pursued sets up the doctrine that pursuit is offensive to her sex and thus escapes the doom of the unpursued. So he's roasting feminists, right? He's calling them out because he's saying that the ugly people, women, the one that men don't want, right? They set up the doctrine that pursuit is offensive to her sex, meaning that men chasing. And here's the perfect example of this, Harry Sison. And I've been talking about it for 2 days. Drew Van Runkle's like, no, yes, Harry Sison.
No.
It's all these women who are coming, who are like, it's terrible. He's speaking to all these women. Oh, he had a whole roster of mids. What young Zoomer doesn't want to have a roster of beautiful mids in his? Every young man wants a roster of beautiful mids. Number 9, men are the romantic sex. Women are the realistic one, right? Women are the realistic sex. Men are the romantic sex. And then finally, he says, the man who is wise enough to escape women is wise enough to escape life. Dark humor or a warning? Are men still trapped in 2025? I think we are. You've unlocked the bonus content. You're going to get it right now. And you know I'm going to give it to you. Hey guys, thanks so much for unlocking the bonus content. Thanks for all you do for the Wake Up America show. It's not about having thousands and thousands of viewers. It's about having loyal viewers who participate, who are a part of the community. Thank you for unlocking the bonus content. It really helps. It matters. When the show's over, because I gotta go to my wife and say, Steffi, I did it. I made the money that we needed so that I can pay the rent and pay the mortgage. Please, honey, can I have some crumbs? Can I please have some crumbs of love from you, baby? Please like me and support me. Man, people talk about men from yesterday. Oh, we got to be like the men, the men like we used to be. But I think we were always sentimental fools, gentlemen. We are the true slaves. And but with the blinders on, yes, honey, I will carry the baby. Get out of here, guys. Enjoy the bonus content. Love you so much. Don't forget, tomorrow, Freedom, my old ball and chain, Freedom Family Friday. Stephanie's here tomorrow. But tonight won't be just any night because it's Culturama at 7 p.m., right? Rumble.com/Culturama. You didn't see Daniela this morning, so you got to see her tonight. And then you get to see Liberty Tonight Boys, the King Libertarian and Brian Piotr right after at rumble.com/Liberty Tonight. So watch all the shows on the For Liberty Network. Click like, subscribe, go shopping, exit through the gift shop, and do a little shopping while you guys enjoy the bonus content that you earn. Thank you so much for all your generosity. People like L-Dubs and Andy Opperman and Joni Rankin, so many others who dropped. Fiery Waco, I saw, did a drop earlier. Thank you to everybody who helped us to unlock it. Thanks for all your support and your love. We'll see you guys here tomorrow on the Wake Up America show on the For Liberty Network.
Gentlemen, gather round for a tale that blends the mystique of religious freedom with the psychedelic swirl of magic mushrooms. A story that could only unfold in the heart of Utah. Our journey begins with Bridger Lee Jensen, a man with a vision as expansive as the Utah sky. In September 2023, Jensen founded Singularism, a spiritual group in Provo, Utah, with a unique sacrament, a tea brewed from psilocybin mushrooms. But Jensen wasn't looking to hide in the shadows. He reached out to city officials, penning a letter to the Provo City Council and Mayor Michelle Kaufusi. His message was one of transparency and cooperation, inviting them to understand and perhaps even partake in the ceremonies of singularism. For over a year, there was no response from the city, a silence that could be interpreted as tacit acceptance or quiet contemplation. However, this calm was deceptive. Behind the scenes, the wheels of law enforcement were turning, setting the stage for a dramatic confrontation. In a move that could rival any crime thriller, an undercover officer infiltrated the singularism circle, posing as an aspiring facilitator. This covert operation culminated on November 11, 2024, when Provo police executed a search warrant at the Singularism Center. They seized approximately 450 grams of mushrooms and mushroom-like material, locked securely in a safe. The sacrament was confiscated, and the spiritual tranquility of singularism was shattered. Enter U.S. District Judge Jill Parrish, who found herself presiding over a case that was as much about constitutional principles as it was about controlled substances. Judge Parrish granted Jensen's request for a preliminary injunction against city and county officials, ordering them to return the seized mushrooms and to cease interfering with Singularism's sincere religious use of psilocybin while the case proceeded. Judge Parrish drew parallels between Singularism's plight and the historical persecution faced by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. She noted the irony of Utah, a state founded by those fleeing religious oppression, now potentially infringing upon the religious freedoms of a new, albeit unconventional group. This case doesn't exist in a vacuum. It echoes the 2006 Supreme Court decision in Gonzalez vs. O Centro Espírita Beneficente União do Vegetal, where the court upheld the União do Vegetal's right to use ayahuasca, a tea containing the Schedule I substance DMT, in religious ceremonies under the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, RFRA. Similarly, Singularism's case challenges the boundaries of religious freedom concerning controlled substances. The outcome of this legal battle could have far-reaching implications. It raises questions about the extent to which religious freedom can accommodate practices involving substances deemed illegal under federal law. Moreover, it spotlights the evolving perceptions of psychedelics, which are gaining recognition for their potential therapeutic benefits. As Singularism's journey through the legal system unfolds, it serves as a poignant reminder of the delicate balance between upholding the law and protecting the freedoms upon which the United States was founded. Whether this balance will tilt in favor of Singularism remains to be seen, but one thing is certain. The case has sparked a conversation that transcends the borders of Utah, challenging us to reconsider the true meaning of religious liberty in contemporary society. So, what does freedom really mean if the state can decide which sacraments are sacred and which are forbidden? Singularism's fight isn't just about mushrooms, it's about the very definition of liberty itself.
Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP for Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's Revolutionary Roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's Patriotic Perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks. Just pure, patriotic, pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your Founding Flavors at apforlibertyshop.com.